WADR, promoting dialogue. It's 6 p.m. in Dakar, 7 o'clock in Lagos. Good evening and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world at wadr.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. At long last, Ivorian President Ouattara declares his candidacy for October presidential polls.
Oui, je suis candidat parce que la constitution de notre pays.
Yes, I am a candidate because the constitution of our country allows me to do another mandate and my health allows it too.
En paix et en sécurité.
WADR's Sankle Janko wins ECOWAS Best Journalist in Radio Broadcast.
So we the woman, we can't fight. This one is our job. We are here doing.
Residents of Ghana's Boku region called on government to reconsider state curfew amid devastating impact on livelihoods. At least 13 dead and 26 rescued in a boat accident in Niger State, north central Nigeria. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Here is Augustine Coley with Newslink.
We are glad you have joined our broadcast. This edition begins in Cote d'Ivoire, where President Alassane Ouattara has officially announced his candidacy for the upcoming presidential election scheduled for October 25 this year. President Ouattara made the announcement this Tuesday, declaring that he will seek re-election with just 3 months remaining before the polls. The Ivorian leader is now running for a fourth term, having previously been re-elected in 2015 and 2020. Imo Edit has the details in this report.
In a speech broadcast on social networks on Tuesday, President Alassane Ouattara attributed his decision to what he described as unprecedented security, economic and monetary challenges facing Cote d'Ivoire. The 83-year-old head of state emphasized that addressing these issues requires experienced leadership. He also affirmed that he is in good health and ready to take on a new mandate.
Oui, je suis candidat parce que la constitution de notre pays.
Yes, I am a candidate because the constitution of our country allows me to do another mandate and my health allows it too. I am a candidate because our country faces unprecedented security, economic and monetary challenges. Indeed, the terrorist threat grows in the sub-region and economic uncertainties at the international level pose a risk for our country. It is a reality that no one can deny. I am a candidate because I want our dear Cote d'Ivoire to continue to remain a prosperous, peaceful and secure country.
Un pays prospère, en paix et en sécurité.
While the opposition has criticized the electoral process, particularly the disqualification of several candidates, including Tijan Cham and former President Laurent Gbagbo, President Ouattara pledged that the elections would be peaceful, democratic and transparent. He reiterated his commitment to guiding Cote d'Ivoire along a path of peace, stability and prosperity.
Mes chers compatriotes, ce nouveau mandat sera celui de la transmission générationnelle.
My dear compatriots, this new mandate will be that of generational transmission with a team that I will put in place. We will be able to consolidate the achievements and we will continue to improve the daily lives of our compatriots. We will continue to develop our country so that it continues on the path of peace, stability and prosperity. You can trust me. I am determined to devote all my energy to our dear Côte d'Ivoire and all its inhabitants.
Dieu bénisse notre beau pays. Je vous remercie.
Recall President Ouattara was officially nominated as the presidential candidate of the ruling party, Rally of Euphrates for Democracy and Peace (RHDP) during the party's congress on June 21, 2025. If elected in the October 25 presidential elections, this will mark his 4th term as president of Côte d'Ivoire since taking power in 2011.
Imo added with that report, we head to the Central Sahel region, particularly Mali, where former leaders of dissolved political parties continue their fight in courts. On Monday, they arrived at the Bamako District 1 court. However, the hearing lasted only a few minutes and was postponed to a later date. The political leaders are contesting the authorities' decision to dissolve their parties last May. Christopher Teacher completes the story.
According to political parties' leaders, the dissolution measure violates several fundamental freedoms, including the freedom of expression, assembly, and the political organization, all of which are guaranteed by the Malian constitution. A hearing scheduled for Monday, July 28, was expected to give lawyers the opportunity to present their arguments. However, at the last minute, the case was postponed without an official explanation. The proceedings have now been rescheduled for next Monday, August 4. In the meantime, a separate but related hearing was set to take place this Tuesday in Bamako at a different court. In this case, former political leaders are also challenging the decision that led to the dissolution of their parties, seeking to have it overturned. These legal battles unfold amid a tense political climate in Mali, where public freedoms appear to be increasingly restricted since the military assumed power. Recall in May 2025, Mali's military leader, General Assimi Goïta, through a presidential decree, dissolved all political parties and organizations of a political nature in the country. Since their dissolution, political parties' leaders filed complaints at various courts across the country, terming the dissolutions as a clampdown on the opposition since the junta seized power.
Christopher Teacher with that report. At the same time, in Mali, journalist Afussein Togo is facing an 8-month suspended prison term and a fine of 500,000 CFA francs. The editor of the Canal de la Venise was sentenced on Monday by the Anti-Cybercrime Judicial Unit for undermining the credibility of the state. Now, crossing over to Ghana, as residents of Baku in the Upper East region, especially market women, have urgently appealed to the government to rethink the newly imposed curfew that begins at 2 p.m. daily. The one that the early curfew threatens to devastate their livelihoods among ongoing efforts to restore peace in the region. Meanwhile, local officials say the curfew is necessary to protect residents and restore order. WADR's Accra correspondent Nadia Tete reports.
The government imposed a strict curfew from 2 p.m. until 6 a.m. starting last Sunday in Boko in the Upper East region and Nalerogo in the Northeast region. This decision came in response to escalating violence linked to long-standing disputes over chieftaincy in the regions. Officials say the curfew aims to curb tensions, improve security, and help safely evacuate students attending school in the affected areas. However, the early start time for the curfew has sparked concerns among many residents. Market women who depend on afternoon trading for their daily income say the curfew restricts their ability to work and puts their families at risk of hardship. Have a listen to some of them.
This is my business that I'm doing. Right now, if the vehicle catches right now, and my career not finished, it will spoil. So we, the woman, we can't fight and we don't have a job. This one is our job. We are here doing it.
The 2 p.m. curfew is really worrying us. I just started displaying my wares. I sell oil and condo, and over here, the time the people usually buy is after 3 p.m. So the 2 p.m. is really worrying us.
It is at 2 o'clock if I
I sell roasted corn and boiled corn. When the curfew started at 4 p.m., it was affecting trade. How much more 2 p.m.? Government should quickly look at this Boko crisis. It's really worrying us. And as you know, it is women that suffer when there's a conflict, not the men. This reflects a broader challenge faced by women in conflict-affected areas where restrictions on movement and market access often compound economic vulnerabilities. The municipal chief executive of Boko, Isaac Azunaba, acknowledges the difficulties caused by the early curfew, but insists security must come first.
Businessmen and women in the municipality, farmers, our plea is that they should bear with us so that we are able to bring the security situation under control. Once we are able to bring the situation under control and there's calmness and peace, we are good to go. Nobody wants to put curfew on anybody unnecessary. Nobody will do that. It is the situation that demands us to be able to control the security situation.
The government has increased military deployment to enforce the curfew and support peacekeeping efforts. Meanwhile, investigations continue into recent violent attacks, including those targeting students, that accelerated the need for strict security measures. For WADR, Nadiri Tete, Accra.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Let's take you to Nigeria, where 26 people have so far been rescued, with 13 bodies found after a boat carrying 39 passengers, including the driver, capsized in Shiroro River in Niger State. Abdullahi Arad, the Director General of Niger State Emergency Management Agency, made the disclosure on Monday. He stated that there were animals and bags of grains in addition to the passengers on board. Here is an extract of Abdullahi Arad's statement.
That canoe was carrying total number of 39 passengers, including the driver. So far, 26 people were rescued and 13 were found dead, unfortunately. And I say among them, we have 8 women, 3 men, and then 2 children on board that boat. In the boat, like I was telling you, it was carrying animals and then grains. There were 3 cows, 2 rams, then 50 bags of grains were also on board.
After this rescue operation is concluded, what will be the next step in order for the state not to experience this type of accident again?
Luckily enough, there was a program today organized by National Inland Waterways. They had program already. I was invited as a guest, so the whole thing turned out to be a post-mortem meeting because almost all the stakeholders were there. So we now seize that opportunity to table that issue at the front burner. We digest it very seriously. We try to determine the cost of the accident. Everybody said his own, and there was some resolution reached upon where we all said all regulation concerning water transport, water travel must be invigorated and then be made compulsory. Like this, using of fit-wear, life jacket, and what have you. All passengers will not board if they don't have that life jacket.
Abdullahi Ara is the Director General of Niger State Emergency Management Agency in Liberia, that's Nigeria. Meanwhile, a devastating hunger crisis is claiming the lives of hundreds of children in the northeastern region of Nigeria. Malnutrition has reached alarming levels, with an estimated 31 million people now facing food insecurity, up from 25 million just 2 years ago. According to figures from UNICEF and Medecins Sans Frontières, the crisis is breaking all-time records. WADR's Usma Umar reports.
According to Medecins Sans Frontières, MSF, more than 650 children have died of hunger since the beginning of the year in northern Nigeria, claiming that it has already treated nearly 70,000 in Katsina State in 2025. Emmanuel Barbain, MSF's nutrition reference, said the number of severe cases has surged by more than 200% compared to last year, far beyond what anyone predicted. Meanwhile, the World Food Programme, that is WFP, is calling the situation unprecedented. WFP's spokesperson in Nigeria, Chi Lail, says a staggering 17 million children across Nigeria are now undernourished. Despite WFP's ongoing efforts, 150 nutrition clinics in the northeast serving 300,000 children are set to close by the end of July 2025 due to the massive funding shortfall and foreign aid cuts. More generally, the food situation in Nigeria's northeastern region today is linked to the soaring cost of living, but also to the upsurge in jihadist attacks. In the states of Borno, Adamawa and Yobe, where at least 3 Boko Haram attacks are reported every day, insecurity is so severe that farmers can no longer go to their fields. The precariousness of the situation risks pushing young people into the hands of armed groups that are recruiting young people for just a few coins. Residents, including authorities and humanitarian groups, are expressing fears that the suspension of WFP food aid in northeast Nigeria could lead to the destabilization of a much larger territory. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
Meanwhile, it's a proud moment for us here at West Africa Democracy Radio as our own Sankule Janko was crowned Radio Reporter of the Year at the inaugural ECOWAS Prize of Excellence Awards for Journalists. The historic ceremony took place last Friday in the Gambian capital Banjul as part of activities marking ECOWAS' 50th anniversary. Janko's award-winning story shed light on the 2022 floods that devastated parts of the Gambia. His report detailed the severe impact of the torrential rains which displaced families and damaged homes in the North Bank region, Carnarvon municipality and the West Coast region.
Well, the report was on relief support provided by the Economic Committee of West African States, that's ECOWAS. I recall and in 2022, July to be precise, the Gambia experienced, torrential rains and, it was flooding everywhere. And it caused a lot of havoc, a lot of material damage. Some families lost their entire houses, So it was really, really, really hard for the Gambia in those periods. So ECOWAS provided some assistance to some of those flood victims, particularly in provincial Gambia. And I was lucky enough to go to the ground, I saw the havoc myself, and then I went there when they relieved support as beneficiaries, to talk to them. And it was really inspirational to hear their testimonies as to how much impact the relief support provided by ECOWAS has helped their lives. Some of them were able to rebuild their houses. Some were able to provide some food provisions, and it went a long way in trying to rebuild their lives. And then I thought it was just a genuine moment, genuine, impactful, assistance from the ECOWAS community. And then I walked around that angle, and that's what emerged as the winner for the radio category.
We will be hearing more from Sankule regarding that report. You are listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Here is a reminder of our top stories. At long last, Ivorian President Ouattara declares his candidacy for October presidential election. WADR Sankule Janko wins ECOWAS Best Journalist in Radio Broadcasts. Residents of Ghana's Baku region called on government to reconsider a stiff curfew amid devastating impact on livelihoods. At least 13 dead and 26 rescued in a boat accident in Niger State, north central Nigeria. We also have guest interview and sports news. Please stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
We are streaming live on YouTube at WADR and on Facebook, WADR English Service. We cross over to Guinea, where the prosecutor's office at the Nzirikore Court of First Instance spoke out regarding the alleged presence of rebels disguised as mentally ill people in the region. Judicial authorities have launched an investigation to clarify the situation. Abdullahi Hassan has the details in this report.
In response to the persistent rumors about the alleged presence of rebels disguising themselves as mentally ill individuals in Nzirikore, the public prosecutor's office at the Court of First Instance has issued a statement to clarify the situation. Mamadou Hadi Jalou, Deputy Public Prosecutor at the Court of First Instance of Nzirikore, addressed the matter.
According to Article 8 of the Penal Code, it was reported that qualified individuals and sick people were actually people who were suspected of disturbing the public order. Following this disturbance, my party, through the Forces of Defense and Security of my branch, called on the suspects for investigation.
The Deputy Public Prosecutor confirmed that several arrests had been made with the support of defense and security forces, stating that a judicial investigation had been opened into the case. Mamadou Hadi Diallo added that a medical examination was ordered to assess the mental health of individuals concerned.
To prevent any trouble to the public and the threat of public safety, the Parkers near the Court of First Instance of the Nzerekure people opened an investigation and required medical expertise to determine the state of health of the suspect of reassuring the population of the Nzerekure people.
According to observers, the statement from the prosecutor's office is intended to reassure residents of Nzerekure amid growing concerns in this often sensitive and security-challenged forest region.
Abdullahi Hassan with the details of that report filed by WADR's correspondent Channel Alpha Ibrahim Mbalde in Conakry.
Politics, analyses on major news, social matters and all. This is A Guest.
Now let's take you back to the report that gave our own Sankule Janko the ECOWAS Radio Reporter of the Year award. The versatile Janko's award-winning story shed light on the 2022 floods that devastated parts of the Gambia. His report detailed the severe impact of the torrential rains which displaced families and damaged homes in the North Bank region, Carnarvon Municipality and the West Coast region. In this conversation, Janko sheds more light on the report.
In all sincerity, I would say the creativity behind this report is thanks to you, my editor. This is a genuine answer. Thanks to you, thanks to my colleagues down there at WADR. I mean, the beautiful thing is we are a family, and I am of the view that once you are in a work environment where everyone is willing to chip in to help, it makes your work better. But most importantly, also, I am fortunate enough to come from an institution wherein the management is ever ready to provide that support. It's just a matter of you pitching a story, giving them the idea, and they will give you the full support, the moral, the financial support. I feel I was just lucky enough at the time when I needed it. The support was there from the management's point of view. They provided the support. I went to this particular place to do the report. And then luckily for me, like you said, there are so many reports within the sub-region. You have security issues and all other things. But then perhaps I feel that for me is the main secret to this story.
Well, Sankule, for you, victory is synonymous to your name. This is not the first win for you. I mean, describe the emotions around you that particular moment on Friday, July 25th, when you were called to the stage and presented the award by the ECOWAS president, Dr. Omar Aliyu Toure, and other senior dignitaries, both from within and outside the sub-region.
Yeah, for me, Abdullah, I would have to be honest with you, it was a moment of pride. It was immeasurable. I mean, it's inexplicable, the feelings I had, the emotion I was going through, for a few reasons. First of all, I mean, it was held in Banjul. The maiden edition was held in Banjul, my own capital city. And we have some family and friends around and colleagues that we've been working with. I mean, to be chosen, to be declared the winner among all those peers, I mean, it's a moment of pride for me. But again, I feel like this award is different. Of course, I was fortunate enough to have won some awards, particularly on migration, which I'm very passionate about. But this particular one for me, it's a bit different because we are living in times where journalism is very, very difficult in our region. We have our colleagues who have been forced to the war front to go and fight against their will. We have journalists that have been harassed in the sub-region, the Sahel region and West Africa as a whole. So for an institution like ECOWAS to recognize the efforts that we are making, to recognize the little efforts that we are making, I feel like that was indeed a great initiative from ECOWAS, and I think that's why this award really stands out among the other awards I was fortunate enough to have won.
And Sankule, I don't think I'll be doing justice to us radio journalists right now if I don't ask the significance of radio in modern day journalism, because you can have anybody, wherever, just report on any issue, and there is absolutely sometimes competition between what real journalism is and the new media. And so what are the opportunities that we still have as mainstream or conventional media, for example radio, that we have to continue to leverage on?
In the Gambia, for example, according to the latest reports, radio is still the most listened to. I mean, it is the most followed medium. It is the most listened to medium in the Gambia. Yes, modern media, but mind you, for example, places like the Gambia, where you have a greater or half of population living in the provinces, they still rely on radio, Abdullah. That woman in the bush, in his, farm there, in his cassava farm, or on her, on her corn farm, whatever farm that you think of, she's there having her small radio by her side, listening to news. That man there in his garden, he has his small radio, whether, even if not the physical radio, but they have radio FMs on their phones. So, of course, in as much as we have modern media, radio is still very, very relevant. For places like the Gambia, it's still very, very relevant. And mind you, when you are driving around, going to the airport or somewhere, you have your vehicle listening to radio is a bit different from, some of this new media. And mind you also, radio, we're still consistent. We are still following the real journalism, the original form of journalism. And there are people who are, for them, quality is what matters. Forget about all this new media, but they still insist on this. They would rather have radio to listen to radio than, some of this. I cannot deny the fact that, yes, there's new media, but Abdullah, radio is still more than relevant. All what we need to continue doing like we do is quality. Once you produce quality reports, people will find ways and means to listen to your radio, verifiable information. And at WDR, that's what we do.
Indeed, it's a proud moment, not just for Sankule Janko, but for all of us here at WADR. And again, congratulations to Sankule Janko. Now, in the world of sports, President Bola Tinubu of Nigeria has conferred the National Honor of Officer of the Order of the Niger on the Super Falcons for winning the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament in Morocco. The Nigerian women's football team clinched the championship for the 10th time, setting a new record in the tournament's history. During a reception held at the presidential villa, President Tinubu also announced a cash reward of $100,000 in Naira equivalent for each of the 24 players.
Your victory represents more than the sport accomplishment. It is a triumph of courage, determination, discipline, and consistency. You have inspired millions, especially young girls, who now see the proof that their dreams are valid and achievable. You inspired me too. It is a great thing for a nation to have assets that are hope of today, tomorrow, and thereafter. You ignited our hope, and we will continue to encourage you, encourage the next generation and other generation after you. I've received this trophy on behalf of all Nigerians, and I say to you, thank you for the dedication, thank you for your passion, and thank you for reminding us of the strength of the Nigerian spirit. Crucial time, crucial victory.
Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. With that, we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening. And many thanks to Ismaila Kamara and Umu Dayogo for the technical assistance. To interact with us via our social media platforms, X, Instagram at WADR English, and on Facebook, WADR English Service. I am Augustine Curley. Good evening.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County.
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Gulf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views.